What's up, everybody? This is one of our brand new podcasts called WAGNN, and WAGNN stands for
We ain't got no name.
We ain't got no name. We ain't got no name. We ain't got no name. No name.
Today we're going to discuss spirituality and relationships, and spirituality plus relationships equals soul ties. And talking with the collective group that I have here that is a part of WAGNN, we felt that soul ties was an amazing topic to discuss because it is a hot topic for marriages, relationships, and how we live our daily lives.
So how does soul ties affect your relationship and you while you're in it?
What is a soul tie?
I think soul ties is when two people can come together, and when they come together, I believe in sexuality, and they have sex with one another. Eventually, those two become attached, because once you become intimate with a person, that's the typical way a couple reconnects with one another. And when they reconnect with one another, they become one. So once those two people are joined into one, they become one soul. Now, the question is, I guess, when you become one with another person, are you becoming one with the right person? Do you have a soul tie with the right person versus the wrong person?
But is there really a way to know if you like? How do you know if you gotta kind of test drive? How do you know?
I mean, I think there's, typical in a relationship. All right, so let's take it back to way back when, in the days when our families or our parents and grandparents used to court a person before they got married. That was their way of saying they're dating. And then they would see whether or not that person jived with the same type of views that another person have. Heck, do you like the same current events? Do you like the funnies, or do you like...
If you have something in common.
Right.
Common ground.
Commonalities. Absolutely.
Right.
I think once sex is involved, that tie is already created.
I agree.
And I sometimes feel like sex can skew the view of how you look at the person.
Right.
You know what I mean? And therefore, it's like you're making decisions based off of that emotion that comes behind having sex with someone.
It can definitely make you more tolerable of things that you wouldn't normally.
Yeah, if the D is good, you're gonna cook dinner for somebody who deserves a McDonald's meal,
right?
Versus collard greens, callaloo, codfish, and some fried chicken,
right?
And that person may not deserve all of that.
This is very true.
For me, I don't cook, so we gonna go to Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is one step over McDonald's.
But they may not deserve a full Chick-fil-A meal. They may deserve a 6-piece nugget, and even that's expensive for what they can offer you in the long run, right?
Right.
So when you think of it, let's think, sometimes do people have sex too early?
I think so.
And then you create that soul tie, just like you said, too early. And then once things start to unfold, it's too late to break because you're already tied to that person.
Well, is there a right time to have sex with someone? Are you supposed to wait until you're married? Okay. Is it realistic to wait until you're married?
It should be. It should be. But in this day and age, it's like...
Because
it's just all over the place.
I don't necessarily want to wait until, because we kind of stuck.
Well, I
don't want to wait until I'm married.
I didn't do it. I didn't wait until I was married. I didn't wait. That's all I got right now. I didn't wait. Was I blessed to finally meet somebody that is worthy of my soul tie? Yeah. And did not find that early in my sexual experience? Yeah. However, there's some people who ignore certain signs to say, maybe if I have sex with this person, but I know I cannot become emotionally tied to this person. I know I better put on a condom to make sure I don't get pregnant by this person because this person isn't the one that I want to be so tied to.
But you're still tied.
Yeah.
So you tied either way.
You still tied.
But here's the thing. All right, just to play devil's advocate.
Okay,
right?
go ahead.
When you want a new car, you go and you test drive different cars before you make that sale, before you buy the car, before you make that purchase, right?
And you can help me with this. Before you make the purchase, you mull over the car, you look it over, you test drove it, but there's no money exchanged.
Multiple cars.
But you did multiple cars?
What I'm that didn't come out right. Okay, all right. So, okay, if sex is supposed to be reserved, sex in general is supposed to be reserved for the person that you're going to marry, right? But realistically, if you don't know who you're gonna if you don't know, you kind of try it out. You kind of see.
But then again, I think that also goes.
So I didn't mean test drive multiple cars
right.
Test drive
Yeah, you did.
I mean, like that, but
I also think that it skews the view of how you look at the person. I feel like really once sex is involved, me personally, I'm an emotional creature. So doing an act like sex, it's going to be emotional. You know what I mean? Right. Regardless of whatever, however you feel. You could be mad, sad, glad, happy. The minute you do that act, there is an emotional connection.
There's an attachment.
Yes, a tie. Regardless of whatever. If it doesn't work out, a lot of people tend to, you got to find somebody else to get up under. So now that becomes a rebound relationship. So now that tie then goes tied to another soul.
So what happens? Let's look at it in a figurative way. If you tie both your shoes together and you try and walk, what happens?
You fall.
You fall flat on what?
Your face.
And you will fall every time.
Every time. Versus the ability to untie that one sneaker from the other and tie it individually, you then can what? Walk.
All right, so here we go, right?
Okay, do it.
You test drove. If you could do it all over again, would you have not?
Well, it depends on what I wanted out the deal.
Okay.
If I just wanted to itch a scratch,
then
I'm just itching a scratch. But if I'm looking to find a husband, that's something totally different. That's two different avenues in which I'm going. That's two different mind frames in which I'm going in. And I'm gonna tell you this now: to itch a scratch, I ain't bearing no babies from that itch.
But you still can be tied, right?
You can still be tied.
Right.
But now that's something that I would have to actively work on separating from, right? So we go back to the example of tying a shoe. So now I have to learn to tie my own shoe. I need to find independence within myself. I need to find happiness within myself. I need to find all these other things, because once you soul tied to someone that may not be the best for you, right? So let's say a person is soul tied to a person who's physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive. That takes a lot more work to tie that individual shoe than it would if I was just itching a scratch and I'm over it.
To untie that shoe.
To untie that shit. Because that shoe getting untied.
But do you feel like...
shoelace.
But I also kind of feel like it can be different with women and men. Because they always say women kind of get more emotionally attached than the men do.
We do.
So does the soul ties not play into men?
No, I think it goes on. It's on both. I feel like a woman can bring it to a man. It could be men in our shoes doing the same thing, looking for a wife, looking for somebody to settle down with, and all they keep coming up on is hood rats, somebody that want to hang out in the club, somebody that always want to be out in the streets. I mean,
a big juicy booty.
Men are looking for the same thing, and I feel like a lot of the times they get caught. And I feel like we're all running the same type of race. We're all running the same race. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of finding that soul that fits. You know what I mean? Like we're all wanting the same thing, We all say that we want the same thing. We're looking for love. We're looking for this. We're looking for that. But when we get it, how come we're not happy with it? Is it because of all the other ties that's tied to that soul that's coming to you, and vice versa? Are you coming to the table with too many ties that's causing the conflict and the friction? You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of different ways that you can look at it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, me personally, I think that we need to learn to wait on sex, because sex alters the mind frame of everything.
It does.
What I can say with not having sex, what it does, it brings you to a different level of intimacy, and it forces you, when there's conflict, it forces you to kind of just deal with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can't just sex it away. Actually,
can't.
sex don't even make it go away.
No. Sex
It just creates a bigger
right. Well,
problem.
well, here we go with sex and making love, right? When you make love, you're able to kind of deal with your issues in a certain way versus just sexing it away. When you make love to your partner, the two of you have an understanding that it's over, it's done with, and we don't have to talk about it already because you done made love it all away.
So can you make love with a soul tie?
If it's a positive soul tie, I don't think you can make love with just anybody.
Okay.
I don't think you
So
can make love
across
with
the
just
board,
anyone.
you just soul tying the people. There's no situation where you just having sex and you not tying souls.
No, I think
It's just
once
like
sex
you
is
just soul
involved,
tying.
you tied. I think
No.
once sex is involved, it's tied. You're tied to that person. Whether you look at it as an emotional stance or just the itch and a scratch or whatever, it's like a footprint.
It
or
is.
like a
Yes.
fingerprint.
It is. You're
on
right.
you or him, or however you want to look at it. Both of us have that footprint now, or that fingerprint,
And that's something
that
you
we're
both
gonna
share
carry, right? Forever. It, no matter how you want
Right.
to dress it up, at the end of the day, it's still a tie. Whether it's to a toxic tie, a loving tie, like
right.
being through what I've been through, child, I could wait. I'm good. I don't need no more ties. I'm good. I'm trying to pray these ones away. I'm trying to get them all away, child,
She said
because
she
this
want
is just
all
ridiculous.
these unequally yoked
Yeah,
ties
they got
gone.
to go. They
I
got
like
to go.
my tie.
You like your tie?
Sometimes.
I like my tie
My
too.
tie's cool.
They got to go. They got to go.
Yeah, and you know what? It goes into with the soul ties. It takes a lot to break a tie. It takes more effort to break that tie than it does to get into a tie. You can slip into it. How many times? Oh, baby, I don't know what happened. I just slipped into it. You be like, how you slip into vagina? I just
Because
wanna
it's
know.
on you already.
Yeah.
You're
Oh.
automatically attracting it.
That
You ever
sounds-
wonder why you keep attracting
Ooh.
the same old, why I can't never find the right man? Why I can't never find the right woman? Because you keep attracting the same type of thing that you
Yeah.
just let go.
Because it's on you.
It's on you. It's like a
tie,
stench.
right? It's on you.
It's like a
and
skunk.
until you get it off of you, meaning not falling into something else new,
Right.
because that's just creating problems.
Right.
AKA rebound relationships that only last for 6 months anyway.
Okay then. Now let's get into rebound relationships, right? Because I've heard all throughout my years, like you said, if you want to get rid of how you felt about somebody else or another relationship, you slide to somebody else.
Yeah, you want to get over someone, you get under
Right.
someone else.
Right. Does that take a certain personality to actually make that situation work? Like, let's think about a person who's needy versus a person who's independent. Do you think a person who's independent versus needy can slip into a rebound relationship, take it for what it is, and then move on and find somebody else? Or is it
I think a
different?
person that's needy gets into a rebound relationship in general.
Yeah.
Period.
Period.
So that's like a cycle
Yeah, because you
taking
can't
place.
be by yourself.
Oh. So we talking about
You can't be by
being
yourself.
alone versus being lonely then.
Yeah, you can't be by yourself.
And
I
that-
do not do rebound relationships.
I don't recommend them.
I
I don't
do.
either.
Because
you
it's
know?
just Problems, more
Right.
problems, more ties.
So that's one way. We're talking about soul ties, but I think that people will eventually want to know, how do you get out of a soul tie? And we just kind of talked about that, right? Lonely versus being alone. There's a difference between the two. Lonely is you can't be by yourself. Like, you want to watch a Netflix movie and you got to call somebody to sit next to you to watch the movie.
Somebody gotta fill that space.
Right.
Somebody. You don't even gotta like them. It's just somebody. Just a body. You just need a body there.
Not a teddy bear. You just need
need
a
a
body.
body.
Dead body, live body. Doesn't matter.
A body.
For the church goers, you got to pray it away and
Yeah.
stay away. Stick to what you're praying for and what you're asking for.
Right.
But sometimes that prayer is hard.
It is, but that's the challenge at the end of the day. If you want it gone, sometimes you got to step into it. If you want it
Sometimes I pray
gone,
in
you
this
got
book.
to. It's not going to be easy.
No, it's not. But that's where, fasting and praying come in, because that's not an easy thing to do. And we're coming up into the new year. And there's one thing that I've learned from a friend, was the 7-day of completion prayer, of asking God to do things in your life specifically, because when it comes down to praying, as you said, sometimes people don't know how to pray for what they need in their life, or they pray for what they want, but they don't pray for what they need. And that's another chopping block right there. So lonely versus being alone, learning how to be alone and not lonely.
Right, because that lonely place can be very dangerous. That can be a real dangerous space to be in.
Is that from the movie, what's that movie? Ding, 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 with the T?
Oh,
And he was in that sunken place.
yeah.
Right.
What is the name of that movie?
Get Out.
Get Out.
There you
I
go.
was about to say, this is
Because I love the producer. I was watching them since Comedy Central before they got put on to the movies. All right. That was my joint.
Jordan
Thank you,
Peele.
Ann, for putting me on to Key and Peele. So that sunken place, we can say soul ties even rest in that, because a person who is incomplete on the inside may be unable to understand how to get out of a soul tie, or even understand soul ties as it is. Because when you're a lonely person, you're technically an incomplete person. You need something or someone to complete you.
Right.
And then whoever smiles, throws money, pays you a nice compliment, you're like, oh my God, they love me so much.
Reaching for them.
Come see me,
come here.
and you create a soul tie with the wrong person for the wrong reasons, because you're already incomplete.
Yeah.
And you find yourself attached for 15 years and don't know how to get out.
Get out.
Okay?
But even
Ding, 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 ding.
even for
From
the people
sunken
that
place.
are not, people don't realize that being alone still takes a lot of, whether it's loneliness or being alone, it takes a lot of patience, and a lot of people don't want to be
Yeah.
patient and go through that process of just having to be by themselves and just deal with themselves,
So
because
that's
that's
called
an
settling.
uncomfortable space.
What do you call it?
Settling.
Yeah.
Yeah. That loneliness place causes a person to settle. Absolutely. But when you're okay with being alone, you're content and waiting and being patient on to see what is going to happen in your life. Wow. That's them soul ties, y'all. Ain't nobody got time.
Can make you or break you. I'm telling you.
I
Right.
don't want my soul to be tied.
Well, my soul is tied. Thank you, Jesus.
I mean, mine's tied, but I didn't want it to be. I don't want to be tied that way.
You don't
We're
be
gonna
tied that way.
edit that out.
Not in the negative. So let's look at for the people who go to church, right? Because there's two verses that we can bring up. We're gonna talk from 2 Corinthians. We're gonna bring up 1 Corinthians in a minute. But 2 Corinthians 6:14 says, "Be ye not unequally yoked," and I'm reading from the King James Version. That's the only version I read from. "Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion hath light with darkness?" So we can also kind of tie those two together, because soul ties also deal with having a commonality or similarities with your partner. Opposites do attract. It's okay. You don't have to be the same person. It's two individual people coming together as one when you soul tie. However, there's certain things that people need to have in common. What do you think those things are?
Oof.
Belief, what you believe in.
Right.
Your belief system, whether you believe in a God or your God, a God, the God.
Amens. Amens.
It's a lot.
What about even raising children? You can be unequally yoked in raising children, and that can cause problems in your relationship.
Right.
That's true.
Or wanting children.
That's true too.
Children. Because I actually saw a post on Facebook a couple of weeks ago about a guy that did not want to have kids. And he said, I hate my kids. They're amazing kids. I hate them. But my wife wanted me to have kids. My wife wants to have kids, and I hate them.
And now he's just winging it.
So
you got people like that in
he's
this
like,
world
they're
too.
amazing kids. There's nothing wrong with them. I hate them because I did not want to have kids.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
She should have listened.
Yeah.
I think, so here we go, WAGNN. Who's the victim in this particular situation with this Facebook post?
The kids.
The kids
and the husband.
Absolutely. What do you think?
I agree. I agree.
Too. I agree. Because, one thing I stand on is when your partner speaks, you must listen. So if your partner says they don't want children, you need to take that in consideration. And that may not be something that they can be like, oh, well, maybe in a few years. No, the person said, nah, I don't want children. If you want children, you should not go forth within that relationship because you can't change that person's mind.
No.
I agree.
And you shouldn't try to.
And you shouldn't try to neither. And that's where a lot of problems arise as well, because now you're feeling like, well, we in it. We here now. What we gonna do?
Yeah.
Some people are like that too. You know what I mean? And we've been together for this long. I want a baby.
Right.
I want to have this baby, whether he wants to or not. And then all of a sudden, child support get put into the mix, and then you upset because he ain't coming to see child. But he done told you that he don't want a child.
He didn't want it. Yeah.
And even another one, marriage. Everybody don't want to get married, but I notice a lot with women more than men. It's like, oh no, I'm gonna change his mind.
No, you can't change a man's mind. When a man says he don't want something, he ain't gonna do nothing. Good luck, because you're gonna be the one sitting home,
upset,
baby on breast, and he out having the best time of his life, probably with another girlfriend.
And sometimes they do. Sometimes they go, okay, you know what? Fine. I will marry you. But I know for me personally, I don't want no one to say,
then you
fine,
end up like the dad in the
marry
letter.
You.
Yeah.
You end up like the dad that can't stand the kids.
Damn, I can't stand my wife.
You know what I mean? A lot of conversations are needed. A lot of conversations need to be had for people that want to get married or feel like they need that title. I feel like people just want the title.
Right.
They don't know how to function in a marriage, don't know how to be a wife, don't know how to be a husband, but they just want the title because they see Susie, Jackie, and Patsy getting married over there and having nice pictures and having everything else. But what is actually going on behind those smiles and those pictures?
What does it take to be a wife? I ain't married.
Well, I have to quote our cousin on this.
Okay.
She ain't got no name either. Okay. But she wrote a sermon about after the white dress. That was sick. After the white dress, because women, we fantasize about that wedding day with the dress and the halo, psych, nah. But, the crown and the, the white shoes and the ring. Oh, let's not get into the rings, right? Ooh. The ring is what gets us the bling bling, that gets us notoriety. But knowing how to be a wife or be a partner or a teammate is the main gesture after the white dress. So when everybody is gone, you spent all the money for the gifts. Some people still in debt from the wedding. Not I, but some people still in debt, paying off their wedding, got a hot or a pot to piss in or what to throw it out of, and you sit here wondering why your marriage isn't working because you never understood the sanctity of marriage in the very first place.
Right.
So when our cousin wrote the sermon about after the white dress. It was about what now? Everybody's gone. It's just you and that person. Now what?
You build that empire.
You're supposed to.
Some people don't know that. Like,
Yeah.
what's the whole point in getting married? You building a team.
But I think a lot of people, they don't have an example to go off anyway.
Yeah, and a lot of
of
that
people
comes
don't have
from
an example, so people are just winging it.
how they were raised.
And
Yeah.
since they locked up TV's dad, all those TV
Yikes.
those sitcoms are off the air to give a
Yeah.
true testament of what marriage is supposed to look like.
Or can look like.
Or can look like. You know, and everybody writes their own book as how their marriage is supposed to look.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to look one way as long as it works for you in the betterment, keyword betterment, of your family. Not to the detriment, but to the betterment of your family.
Building that empire.
Building the empire. That's what it's supposed to be.
Stop
'Cause
making
it's like,
teams if
how
you
do
ain't
soul
willing to
ties
build no
affect?
empire.
How does soul ties affect your marriage? If you coming in with
That's a lot.
If you
That's
coming
a
in with
lot.
all these souls and stuff to you, what are you supposed to do in that marriage?
Because that's where trust comes into play
Yeah.
now. Because it's like you know this person. Do you know that person's had past?
Yeah.
do I know my wife's past?
Or do you?
Do I know my husband's
Well, a lot
past?
of women
Right.
aren't upfront about that.
Men
Right.
aren't neither.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
at the end of the day, if we're talking about marriage, we should be on the same page with something.
Right.
Right.
Or like, for example, some couples that may choose to get married, they don't want to know the past because all that matters is what they're doing
right
moving
now.
forward.
This
Right.
is true, too.
So I know I don't want to know no past. I don't even want to know because I don't want to know
I want to know.
because I'm crazy.
Sometimes that
I don't wanna
causes
know.
judgment
You know
that doesn't
why?
need to be there, though.
Right.
You know why I want to know? Because I don't ever want to walk into a room and have a woman walk up to me and say, "I had your man."
See, but then
or
that's
your
when she gets
husband."
slapped.
Right,
Because she ain't
she's
got
out
no
of-
business.
because
So I
she's
need
out
to
of
I need to
line.
walk into a room
Right.
knowing.
That's
Let me
poor
know what I'm
etiquette.
going to.
That's poor etiquette.
But a lot of these girls don't
You
have
right,
it.
and we're gonna talk about folks
lot of
knowing
these
their
girls
Mickey
don't
Ficky
have it.
places, and you know what? We can actually tie that into soul ties where people don't know their place, right? And we go back to the shoes. If a person gets married and he or she hasn't tied their own shoe, you know, then when you go into your marriage, you already falling. You already allowing the pathway for somebody you used to date to come and speak to your wife as if she don't have the highest platform. So for everybody out there, the wife got the platform. Baby mamas, girlfriends, side chicks, take a chill pill. The wife is the one that is acknowledged on all paperwork. Wives, if you're smart, your name is on the deed to the crib, okay? As well
Better
as
be.
on the insurance for the cars, okay?
It better
But
be.
it should, but if you don't know, get on it. But the thing is, when you in a marriage and your shoelaces are still tied to other soul ties, then that gives way for other people to talk about what your man or what your girl is and what isn't. You know what I mean?
They don't know their position.
They
They
need
don't
to
know
know
their
their
place.
position.
And also, what soul ties do when you coming into a relationship with someone or going into a marriage, now that person that you're with has to almost, there's an unspoken expectation of what you're supposed to do to match up with everyone that they have had before them, whether it was right or wrong.
Ooh.
So now there become this like invisible competition
Wow.
Yeah, I ain't trying to do none
with
of that
people
neither.
that are not
Nah.
even there anymore.
Yeah. And that's because they're probably shoelaces are still tied together.
Right. So then that creates a whole other
Right.
set of issues and
Right.
insecurities and stuff in
Right.
the relationship, which can go into the marriage. How do you deal with that? So you just deal with your soul ties before you get in with somebody.
You supposed to deal with your soul ties before you move on to something serious.
So
That's
do
just
you?
my
So,
thing.
okay, so you got this soul tie. So let's say a girl. I mean, because we always saying guys be having a whole
Right.
bunch of girls. So
Right.
I'm gonna
'Cause,
say a girl.
I mean, in this day and age, girls
Right.
be doing it too.
Right. So let's say a girl has like a checkered past. She meets this great guy. She's
Right.
supposed to be like, let me not get involved with him at all and risk the possibility that he gonna go and find someone else because I gotta break these soul ties? Is that what she's supposed to do? Or she's supposed to be like, you know what, let me just go all in and you gotta work with me through all this baggage?
Me personally, I think that you should just sever yourself from all of that if you want to work on getting rid of the soul ties and you want something to work moving forward. You already know what doesn't work. You know this back here doesn't work. You know what I mean? You know that whatever you did X, Y, and Z with these people, it did not work. If you didn't do it with this person currently, but things seem to be working without the sex involved, I think that you should move forward, leaving it the way that it is. Because I honestly feel like sex contaminates a lot of things. It does. Because you start to think emotionally now. It's an emotional act. For some people, it's not. It's nothing at all.
Right.
But for a lot of people, specifically women, it's an emotional act. So your whole brain now is altered to think, you automatically think in husband.
Right.
Because that's an act that you're supposed to commit with your husband or your wife.
You're
and
right.
now you start treating these bum behind dudes like they husbands.
Say it
and
one more
they
time.
ain't even
What kind
treating
of
you like
dudes?
a wife. Bum behind dudes. You know, like husbands. And they don't even deserve the title.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a lot that comes into it. I feel like if you meet someone new and sex is not involved, leave it be. If it's meant to be, it'll be. If it ain't meant to be, it ain't gonna be.
Right.
But that's also like counterproductive to what we know biologically about women and men, and I guess even theoretically in a sense, because they always say, like, you know, sex is something men need.
Right.
Sex is something men need.
They
and
crave
sex
it.
develops a level of intimacy and a bond.
Yes.
So with that, if it creates that closeness and that bond, how does the relationship thrive in a sense without it? Because at the end of the day, everybody's goal is not marriage. Not everybody wants to be married.
Not everybody's goal is marriage. I don't know. I have a different perspective. It's like, I think women are very, what's the word I'm looking for? Women are sophisticated creatures. And I sometimes think we don't give ourselves enough credit for how we can compartmentalize things, right? We're able to compartmentalize sex, boom, 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 whatever the case is. And sometimes I think if you have a potential good person right here, and I've seen this all over, right? You have a potential good person right here, and you got some things you need to work on. I think we're sophisticated enough not to let that person go, but keep them close enough to say, you know what? I'm really feeling you. You just not for me right now because I got to get myself together. And once I get myself together, it's on and it's popping. But I think we're smart enough not to let it go so that that person can find somebody else, because that person might be just for you. So I think we're sophisticated enough to split ourselves in half, if you will, to deal with our sugar honey iced tea, but also recognize what's also good for us. And I think we can do that at the same time once we're at a certain period in our life. Once we're able to kind of see the difference, like, this is crap over here, but over here, the grass is definitely greener. I've seen it. I've heard about it. I've read about it. I've witnessed it. Not experienced it, but I know that this is better. But I need to get this stuff together. But that doesn't mean you have to say, no, I can't date anybody because this isn't right because I'm not ready. Nah. Get your ish together. Put your big girl panties on, or grandma panties on, and strap your boots and get to work on working on yourself internally so you can get with that person that's right here waiting for you. You know, so I don't think you need to push anybody away because of soul ties. You just need to deal with your crap.
It's funny because in that situation right now.
And I wasn't speaking of that.
As we speak,
speaking of something
I'm dealing
else.
with that. I'm dealing with that. So that's crazy that you brought that up. Definitely dealing with that right now.
Because we're strong enough.
It is all about you getting your stuff together.
Yeah.
So that way you don't contaminate what's actually waiting for you.
Because there are positive soul ties. And sometimes it doesn't have to be, and this is unhelpful thinking, you would know this, that all or nothing thinking. You don't have to do, it's either this or that.
Right.
You can always compromise and meet yourself. How about that? Meet yourself in the middle.
Yeah.
So you can deal with what you need to deal with, but also get what you deserve. What's for you. I don't think you need to discard it like, I can't. And then you mad when the dude move on or the she move on. You like, what happened? I loved him. Yeah, dummy. They loved you too, but you took too darn long to figure it out.
This is true. This is true. And I think that's what I'm scared of, taking too long to figure it out. Because for myself.
Okay.
Because folks ain't going to wait around forever.
No.
Folks will not wait around forever for
Yeah,
you
that
to
is
get it
true.
together.
Yeah. Just give yourself the opportunity to have all the things that you've been looking for.
That makes sense. Because, that's not my issues. I'd be like, you go first. I'm more of a, you get yourself together first, and then I'll get myself together first.
You do it and I do it. Y'all playing double dutch?
Yeah.
You trying to figure out who's going to jump in
Who gonna
first?
jump in first?
Playing double dutch, but y'all
Right.
ultimately playing double orange. Backwards.
Right. Which is not good either. But,
gosh.
It's relationships are complex. Soul ties
They really are.
complex.
There's no right or wrong answer.
Especially because it's like socially acceptable for men to have soul ties. To be connected to so many. It's almost acceptable for men to be that way.
Well, it's acceptable for women now, too, to have multiple soul ties. I don't even think people even realize the crap that they're putting themselves in.
And bring it to the
No.
table.
And
I
bring
don't
it
think
to
they
the table,
realize
right?
it until they have something good in front of them and it's not working. Because when you have those soul ties and you come into something good, it forces you to do something different.
Yeah.
And
The right person will force you to make the changes needed.
right, and it's hard to decide I got to do something. You can know it, but to actually put it into practice is something totally different.
Yeah, you're right. And that's what it's about. So the one thing we want everybody to take away from this is to untie the shoelace to the unsuccessful soul ties. Learn to be alone and not be lonely. And also recognize when something good is in front of you.
Yes. Love
I'm
yourself.
a blessing. I'm a blessing.
Say that one more time.
I'm a blessing.
That's right. You know what? People need to say that in the mirror.
Right.
Really,
I'm a
daily.
You gotta
blessing.
affirm yourself.
You can't
make
give
sure
from an
you're a
empty
blessing.
cup neither.
Ooh, you better say that one more time.
You can't give from an empty cup.
Right?
Cup gotta runneth over.
Love yourself.
Love yourself.